Have you ever felt like you were in such a rut that you needed a serious reboot? Whether it's in your career, your relationships, or personal goals, sometimes we all just need to restart. In this video, I'm going to share with you 10 powerful strategies to refresh different parts of your life. So get your pen ready and let's begin. Welcome back. If you're new to the channel, my name is Bennett. I'm here to share some ideas that have helped me move the needle forward just a little bit, and I hope you find them beneficial. We're going to break up the 10 tips into 5 different categories, and by doing that, we're going to be able to see what it is we can start to do to really just restart what it is we want in our own personal lives. And the first place we're going to start is clarity. And when it comes to clarity, I think so many people don't realize that you have to be realistic of where it is that you currently are. We don't want to be judgmental and we don't want to get emotional about it, but we have to understand where it is, what our financial situation really is, what skills do we really have. And unfortunately, it might be that those things aren't so great right now. And the key words are right now, because if we want to be able to grow, if we want to be able to do certain things, we have to know where it is that we want to be starting from. If we want to be changing our financial situation, so we can't be in denial of what it is that's going on, because we can't work on the bad habits that got us there, and we can't work on the skills that are necessary to get us out. So for so many people, they need to actually take a step back, really recognize what's going on. And that takes me to my second point, because when it comes to clarity, we then have to understand where it is we want to be going. We see so many people want to be out of the situation they're in, but they don't really know where it is that they want to go. They want to be financially free. They want to have great relationships, but they don't even know what that looks like. If we can start to get clarity on that, then all of a sudden we can start to figure out which path we should be on. It's trying to arrive at a destination without an address. And for most people, that's really difficult to get there. But what we need to try to realize is that if we can figure out where it is we are and where it is we want to be going, then we have the ability to move forward and to change our lives. The second topic that we need to be figuring out is who is there. And what I mean by that is we need to understand who's done it before. Who is somebody that you know that might have taken it to that level? Because if we can get real personal experience from somebody who's been through before, that's going to be the thing that's going to be able to help us. We could find the people around us who have experience in what it is we want to be doing. That could be something that could be so beneficial. And with the internet nowadays, we have access to so many more people. There's so many communities out there of people who are actually willing to help. I know it might sound crazy, but people are really willing to help. And what we need to try to do is we need to figure out where those people are and try to get ourselves connected to those people. And guess what? If you cannot find anybody, what's really cool also is our fourth point, where we're going to talk about what it is you can do to learn from other people, even though you don't know them. And that's why books and podcasts are so popular nowadays. Even YouTube has been able to teach people so many different tricks and strategies in all areas of life. And what you need to try to do is you need to try to figure out what it is you're doing to allow yourself to get there. For so many of us, we don't know which path we should be building, and all we have to do is try to figure out who's done it before and learn from them to be able to mimic what it is that we need to be doing. Of course, our path is going to be different because our resources are different, but to understand that if we can start to get ideas from different people, then we can start to formulate a map that we can start to use to get to our final address. That being said, if you are somebody who wants to be following like-minded people, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. The third group of tips is going to be the plan of action. And this really gets down to the nitty-gritty of what it is you need to be doing, which steps you need to be taking. But I don't want you to be falling into that indecision, into that possibility of you not making any moves and you not taking action. So instead of focusing on what action you need to be taking, try to understand what action you could be taking. Because for so many people, they get so caught up in terms of what it is they need to be doing that they can't get themselves to do anything. We don't want to fall for that trap, and we have to come up with a plan and strategize around it. But if we see that we're procrastinating and pushing things off, understand that any action you take is going to be better than no action at all. And what's interesting is that we're all going to have our own different story in terms of how we finally got to the place that we want to get to. So don't compare yourselves to other people, and understand what is the steps that you need to be taking. Because as long as you keep moving, you're going to get to the place that you want to get to. The second idea of plan of action is to understand that there are going to be hardships. And what we can start to do is to plan for those hardships. So when things don't go the way we thought they would, how is it that we're going to bounce back? How can we be resilient? We all know it's going to be difficult, but what are we going to do during the difficult times? How are we going to reframe ourselves and anchor ourselves to our goal to make sure that regardless of what's happening on the exterior, we are going to be focused and we're going to try to be able to get to the place that we want to get to. There was one time I started working on a specific coaching program, and I had one direction of how I was going to market it. And I ended up doing the marketing and spent a couple of $1,000s. And after a couple of weeks, there were 0 people who signed up for the program. Only one person reached out, and the only reason why they reached out is because they wanted me to advertise in their platform. I was so reliant on that one way working, and I just felt so helpless. What was interesting, after a couple of days, I took a step back and I started to see different opportunities that I possibly had. And after a couple of days and after a couple of emails, I was able to get a couple of people into the program. It was something that was so special special, not just because I got people to the program, but I saw that I could be resilient during those times when things don't look so great. We all have to understand that the hard times are going to come, and we have to know what it is we need to be doing. Sometimes it's re-strategizing, sometimes it's continuing to move forward and taking that action, but understanding that we have to be doing something in order to get past that. The fourth category is being patient. I know it sounds cliche, but we have to understand that things are going to take time. And the more patient you can be, the better action you're going to be, the more efficient you're going to be. I'm not saying not to push your days, but to understand that if you're trying to rush it, most of the time people mess up that way. When I was in my 20s, I kept trying to rush my success. I kept trying to do some shortcut, trying to make it the way other people made it. But what I didn't realize is that I'm going to have to do the work. I'm going to have to get my hands dirty and make things happen. For so many people, they're in such a rush to be able to get to a different place that they're not building the foundations of who they are. So even if they get an opportunity, they're not going to be able to hold on to it. Remember, you're in this for the long run and you want this thing to last. And if you can become that person, if you could become patient, nobody could take that away from you, and you can continuously build on top of it. This second point about patience is that when you usually do things slower, you end up taking better action, which only allows you to get to your goal even quicker. For most people, if they actually set themselves a goal and set a strategic plan, if they just follow the plan, they're going to reach their goal, and most times it's going to happen a lot earlier. So even if you are in a rush, understand that if you are patient, it's most likely going to happen a lot quicker than you trying to push it through. And the fifth and final category is your support. You see, the people that we surround ourselves with are going to be the ones who are going to help us or hurt us regarding our goals that we want to achieve. If you want to become wealthier, you have to spend time with wealthier people. If you want to be somebody who has great relationships, you have to be surrounded by like-minded people who are into working on their relationships. Right now, if things are not going well, it's probably because the people around you are in a similar boat and you're all holding each other down. I'm not saying that you have to detach from them and you can't be friends with them, but to understand that if you want to take things to the next level, you have to put yourself in a circle where people are going to be pulling you up and not dragging you down. As a coach, Rich Liffin once said, if you are the most interesting person in the room, you are in the wrong room. We are all here to grow. We are all here to become somebody. And if we can surround ourselves by the right people, they're going to be the ones to help us move forward so much quicker than we could ever imagine. And the last point about support is to make sure that you're working on your mindset. For so many of us, this is the thing that's going to help us or hurt us when it comes to success. And if we can start to work on having a growth mindset or an abundant mindset, we can start to move ourselves forward and get out of the ruts that we want. As Tony Robbins likes to say, 80% of success is in your mind. If we can work on this beautiful muscle, then I'm telling you, so many things in our lives can happen so much quicker. And we're going to be able to get out of the places that we don't want to be in. We're going to start creating the life that we want to be creating. Now you might be asking yourself, well, Bennett, that's great, but I have so much self-doubt. I can't actually do it. And if you're somebody who resonates with that, make sure to take a look at this next video where I speak about what to do if you're struggling with self-doubt.